It's a Top 5 Tuesday on Sports Card Investor, and today, 5 football cards, 5 basketball cards, and 5 baseball cards you are going to want to know about.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies, and at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love.
Hello, sports card investors. Welcome to Top 5 Tuesday. I'm excited to tell you about some football and basketball and baseball cards that are trending this week. But first, let me thank the more than 300 people who have signed up thus far as part of my membership program and for access to my Market Movers data tool. I am so excited about the membership community that we are building and the many of you who have signed up for that. Thank you so much. And I promise to make it worth your while. I have a great card pick of the week, which goes out to all of my members every Wednesday. I'm excited about the pick this week, and hopefully we can help make you guys some money through these card picks of the week. Thanks for being part of my membership program. If you haven't had a chance to check it out now yet, it's on sportscardinvestor.com. But let's talk about these 5 cards in each of these sports that I want to tell you about today. I'm doing something a little bit different today. Last week in my top 5 episode, I talked about players who have been going up, players who are hot. I'm going to take it down a little notch, and I'm going to talk about some players whose cards have not done so well. Because the reality in sports card investing is that, yes, it's wonderful when players' cards go up, and that's what we all want, but there are times that players' cards go down in value as well. That is the reality. So let's start by looking at the 5 football cards that have dropped the most in value in the last 30 days. Now let's rewind 30 days ago. The Super Bowl matchup had been set. We just completed the AFC Championship game. We completed the NFC Championship game. We knew that the Super Bowl was going to be Kansas City versus San Francisco. There was a lot of excitement and hype leading up towards it. Fast forward 30 days. Of course, we know Kansas City won. We know Patrick Mahomes was the MVP. And now we're starting to look towards next season. So who do you think were the 5 football cards that got hurt the most in value over the last 30 days? Here we go. The number 5 card. This one is going to surprise you. The number 5 card in terms of value lost, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, his cards collectively are down 6.2%, his rookie cards collectively, since prior to the Super Bowl. Can you believe that? But you know what? That's how the hobby is. Oftentimes in the hobby, people buy up into the hype before the actual event. And even when the event turns out the way that all those people hoped it would, he won the Super Bowl, he led a comeback, he became the MVP. It could not have gotten any better for Patrick Mahomes. Yet what happened? His cards have gone down in value since the run up to the Super Bowl. Now only down a little bit, down 6.2%, but it shows you how much hype was built into his card prices before the Super Bowl even occurred, that no matter what happened during the Super Bowl, his card prices couldn't live up to that hype and that value that had been obtained. So, just something to think about when it comes to sports card investing. Oftentimes the hype and the lead up and the rumor is more valuable in terms of card prices than the actual news itself, the actual event happening itself. And that was the case with Patrick Mahomes, down 6.2% over the last 30 days. The 4th biggest loser over the last 30 days in football, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's rookie cards are collectively down 12.8%. I think a lot of people were really excited about the Seahawks' chances this year, particularly when the Saints got knocked out of the playoffs, and people thought that this could be the year that Russell Wilson gets back to the big game, wins another title. People were excited about that possibility, so there was a run-up in some of his cards over the course of the season in terms of prices. But then, of course, the Seahawks lost, and his cards have come down 12.8% over the last 30 days. The number 3 biggest loser in football card prices over the last 30 days, Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, yes, Nick Bosa, the guy you would not expect because he, of course, was in the Super Bowl. But much like Patrick Mahomes, there was a lot of excitement about Nick Bosa, and there was a run-up in his card prices leading into the Super Bowl. And, of course, he was not on the winning team, unlike Patrick Mahomes. And we have seen his cards soften since the Super Bowl. Which then leads me to my number 2 guy. You might be able to guess him. In fact, some of you may have thought he was number 1. The number 2 guy in terms of his cards dropping over the last 30 days in football, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo did not have a particularly great Super Bowl. He also did not have a particularly great NFC Championship game, even though his team won and got to the Super Bowl. His cards were popular leading up to the Super Bowl. They were going up in price quite a bit. But the Super Bowl loss has hurt his card prices considerably. And Jimmy Garoppolo's card prices are down 22%. The same amount, by the way, Nick Bosa's card prices, both of them down 22% over the course of the last 30 days. And the number 1 biggest loser in terms of football card prices in the last 30 days, can you guess it? This is not one that is necessarily going to be easy to guess, because this was a rookie who was really one of the star rookie players, perhaps the best rookie player, or at least maybe the most surprising rookie player in terms of what he was able to do this season, a running back who plays on the West Coast. And I'm talking about Josh Jacobs. He was the number 1 guy in terms of his cards coming down. They are down 55% over the last 30 days. Now, this may be surprising because he was so hot during most of the season. He had an amazing season, 1,150 yards. As a rookie, he was really one of the best rookies this year. But what happened? What happened was he got a shoulder injury late in the season. He had to miss week 14 and week 16 due to the shoulder injury. Then he got a skin infection, had to get surgery, and had to miss week 17. So what happened was 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he didn't play. And so his card prices started to soften right at the end of the season, and they've continued to soften ever since then. So we've seen a drop, a very significant drop, a 55% drop in his rookie card prices over the course of the last 30 days, as some of the excitement and hype that had built up for so much of the season came down at the end of the season when he wasn't playing, and has now continued to come down into the off season. So Josh Jacobs, your number 1 guy, in the wrong direction for football. All right, so now let's talk some basketball. Now I'm going to give you the 5 rookies from this year's basketball class that have seen their Prism prices drop the most in the last 60 days. So these are the 5 basketball rookies that are cooling off in terms of card prices. Number 5, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat. He was a hot rookie for much of the season, much of the first half of the season, but unfortunately, he got injured in early February, a foot injury, and he has not played at all for the month of February. As a result, he had to sit out of the NBA Rising Stars game, which he otherwise would have been part of. So as a result of that, Tyler Hero's card prices are down 32% over the course of the last 60 days. The number 4 biggest price drop of basketball rookies in the last 60 days, Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes of the New Orleans Pelicans. This may surprise some of you because he was a hot rookie for much of the first half of the season. But honestly, what happened to Jackson Hayes was Zion. Zion came back and his playing time has dropped considerably. In fact, since the time Zion returned to New Orleans, Jackson Hayes has not had a single game with more than 10 points. Whereas prior to that, he had had a number of games in double digits. No games in double digits since Zion has returned. So his card prices have really started to cool off since Zion's return, and we see that as with him being the second biggest price drop, 39% price drop over the course of the last 60 days. He is the one guy who has been negatively affected by Zion returning. Many of the other Pelicans have seen positive impacts from Zion returning, including, by the way, my boy Lonzo Ball, who, as you know, I've been on for a long time, and he has really seen the benefit in terms of card prices from Zion returning, as I thought that he would. But Jackson Hayes, not so much, because Zion is eating into his points and eating into his playing time. The number 3 rookie in terms of card drops, Grant Williams, the first-round pick of the Boston Celtics. He's actually played in almost every single Celtics game this year. So he is getting playing time, but his statistics just haven't been that impressive, and we haven't seen much of an increase in his statistical prices. 3.7 points per game for him. So, nothing too exciting there. And whatever excitement surrounded his card prices early in the season, it's kind of worn off at this point as he's seen his card prices drop. The number 2 guy who has seen his card prices drop the most this year, or at least in the last 60 days, this one surprised me a little bit because this guy's actually pretty legit and pretty good. DeAndre Hunter of the Atlanta Hawks, my hometown team, DeAndre Hunter. His cards are down 50%. His prisms are down 50% in the last 60 days. Now, why is that? Well, if we look back 60 days ago, he had a really big game right before Christmas. He had 23 points, and that was right before Christmas, and then he had some time off, and of course, everybody was off for the holidays, so I think people were buying some of his cards over the holidays. There was a lot of excitement about DeAndre Hunter entering the holidays. He's continued to play pretty well, but I guess in the eyes of collectors, in the eyes of investors, he hasn't quite lived up to the trajectory that some people hoped that he was on 60 days ago. So as a result, DeAndre Hunter's card prices are down 50%, 50% over the course of the last 60 days. And then the number 1 guy who's dropped the most at 62.5%, he is another Celtic, an early second-round pick for the Celtics, Carson Edwards, the shooting guard out of Purdue. He played a pretty good amount early in the season for the Celtics. He has not played at all recently. In fact, since December 15th, he has hardly played at all. He's been kept out of most games. And of course, what has happened as a result? People have kind of given up on his cards, and they've given up on his card prices have gone down. They were never that valuable to begin with, but they are even less valuable today. In fact, 62.5% less valuable, as the excitement around Carson Edwards is just not there like it was in the early part of the season. So those are your 5 prominent rookies from this year's rookie class in basketball who have seen their prism prices drop the most over the last 60 days. All right, so we're going to turn to baseball now, but for baseball, let's do something a little bit happier. Instead of looking at guys whose prices are dropping, you know who I'd like to look at? One guy whose cards have really done well this offseason is Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. There has been so much hype. In fact, over the last 90 days, his cards have increased more than 60%. He is one of the rare guys in baseball's offseason that has just seen his card prices continue to build and build and build and build. Typically, offseason, especially in baseball, can be a little bit of a quiet time for guys' card prices. But not Ronald Acuna Jr. The hype is real. People are believing in this guy. People are buying this guy. And his cards have gone up and up and up over the course of the offseason. I want to look now at 5 of his more expensive cards. Now, these are not his very most expensive cards, because for that, you might have a superfractor or a very rare refractor, from Topps or that type of thing. But we're going to look at cards that are a little bit more common, a little bit more accessible, but still very, very expensive. And we're going to look at 5 of his cards to see how they've done over the course of the offseason. So let's go to our Market Movers data tool and take a look. So what you are seeing here is a graph of 5 of those popular cards. And I'm going to switch this to show trend lines instead of individual cards, which is, by the way, a cool new feature of Market Movers. At the request of some of our users, we've added in trend lines, which gives you a better understanding of how a player's cards are actually moving rather than the jagged lines that sales graphs give you. So you can see from these trend lines, he, of course, has seen a lot of upwards mobility over the course of the summer, which is what we were expecting. Now, the bottom card here was his Topps Baseball 2018 Bat Down PSA 10. This card has gone up in value considerably, has almost doubled in value over the course of the last 90 days. People love that base bat down variation. That was a variation of his 2018 Topps base card, but it was one of these, photo variations, and it was a particularly rare one. So people are big fans of that. That card is, again, almost doubled, went from about $645 to about $1,250 over the course of the last 90 days. The line right above that is his Topps Update Gold, his 2018 Topps Update Gold in PSA 10. That card has also gone up quite a bit over the course of the last 90 days. That card went up from about $800 at the beginning of the 90 days to about $1,213 at the end of the 90 days. And then the line above that is his Bowman Chrome 2017 Prospect Auto. And by the way, this is what that card looks like. Another cool thing about Market Movers now is you can see what all of these cards look like. So this card right here has gone up considerably as well, as you can see on the graph. It started over here at about $1,709 90 days ago, and today that card is selling for about $2,184. The second line on the graph, which is actually the line that has gone up the most, is his Sapphire. These are popular cards, these Topps Chrome Sapphire Edition cards, very, very popular. This card has really done well over the course of the last 90 days. It started 90 days ago at about $2,300. It is all the way on up to about $5,000 now. And then finally, the very top line in the graph up here, that would be his 2017 Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto Refractor, his Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto Refractor up there. That one is, being the refractor, it's numbered, it's a rare card, and that one has gone up from about $3,200 on up to about $4,000 over the course of the last 90 days. So we are seeing some pretty cool stuff there with Ronald Acuna Jr. Hopefully he has the season that many people hope and expect he will, and hopefully he does, as well as all of us are hoping, especially me, being from Atlanta, being a Braves fan. But this guy may be your first 40-40 guy in a while. Let's hope that he can get there this season and live up to this considerable hype that has been built into his card prices. Folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this top 5 Tuesday episode. I hope you enjoyed these lists. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday. And if you would like to see more of this stuff, just subscribe to my membership program for less than $100 a year or less than $10 a month. You can get access to reports like this sent to you every week by email, along with my card pick of the week. Would love to have you on the membership program. Go to sportscardinvestor.com and click the membership button to find out more. Please subscribe, everybody. Would love to keep bringing you more content like this. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you Thursday for my next episode. Take care.